This is Piers Morgan Live.
It was my job to try to explain to her what the dynamics of the courtroom were going to be. She didn't understand that there was going to be this good cop, bad cop mentality amongst the lawyers, that the prosecution was going to essentially coddle her when the defense attorneys were going to try to rip her apart. And so I tried to get her to understand that this is what's going to happen. You're going to have, the prosecution ask you questions, and they usually go over the questions and answers with the witness to make sure that they understand what they're going to ask them. However, when it comes to the defense, they do not know what the defense is going to ask. They usually try to play the devil's advocate and ask the questions. But in this particular case, trying to decide what questions Don West was going to ask was pretty hard for the prosecution. This is a witness that should have been on the stand for no more than an hour. However, she ended up being on the stand for 5.5 hours over the span of 2 days.
But notwithstanding all that, my gut feeling after watching much of it in real time as it happened was that although she was quite aggressive at times, responding to Mr. West in that way, and clearly didn't really want to be there, that there was a real authenticity to the evidence she was giving that I found very believable. That was just me watching as a viewer.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, her testimony was completely unrehearsed, and it was obvious that it was unrehearsed. The demeanor that she had in the courtroom was a result of the confrontation that she had with Mr. West at the prior depositions of the 2 days that she sat down with him when he tried to browbeat her then. So when she walked into the courtroom, she tried to maintain her composure, and Mr. West did exactly what he did in the depositions, is that he attacked her and put her on the defensive. She's a 19-year-old young lady from the inner city and had no experience in the courtroom whatsoever. She's not trained to be a witness. It took a lot of courage for her to come out of her shell to be a witness. She tried to avoid being in the limelight at all costs. When she first told her mother that she had information, her mother wanted her to sit down and speak with Mr. Crump. She told her mother to tell Mr. Crump no, she didn't want to speak with him. When she decided to write a letter to Sabrina as to what she recalls happening on that night, she used her nickname, Diamond Eugene, because she didn't want to reveal her real name, because she didn't want the media getting a hold of that. She told them that she was 16 years old, again, because she didn't want the media getting a hold to her name. And so she tried to avoid being a witness in this particular case. She didn't ask to be there, but once she was placed under subpoena, she did what she's required to do. She came into that courtroom and she testified.